All right, hey everybody, it's another Friday Live. Happy Aloha Friday. Adrian, who do we have with us today?
So our guest today is a real estate investing expert and coach. She has over 10 years of experience in the real estate industry covering financing, construction, management, acquisitions of self-storage facilities, and residential properties. Today she owns and operates REI USA, Storage Nerds, and the Self Storage Fund of America. Together with her husband Pete, they currently own and operate 12 storage facilities throughout Georgia and Florida. Please welcome our guest, Stacy Rossetti.
Okay, so Stacy, I have a question for you. Are you a professional hoarder? You got a lot of storage
If
space.
you ask my husband, he would say, "Of course, yes."
You're doing a hoarder person's dream job. I mean, they would be like, "Oh, look at all
this storage. I can put all this
space,
stuff.
all this stuff."
Well, it's so fun. It's so funny because like my husband, because when we moved down to Georgia, I told my husband, I was like, just figure out what you want to do. And he was like, and so he came to me, he said, I figured out what I want to do. And I was like, what is it? He says, I want to own a junkyard. This is what he told me. And I was like, no, I am not going to be like a junkyard's wife. I don't want to do that. Yeah. That is like my worst nightmare. And so in the end, essentially the truth is like we own like 13 different junkyards.
Oh,
yeah. The difference is these are indoor and air conditioned with locks.
Well, we have mostly outdoor. We have some indoor, some outdoor, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then like when we have auction stuff and auctions, he's always like, ooh, what can I get?
Yeah.
This kind of thing. And I'm just like, no, you're not bringing that home. Sorry, no.
Okay, so all these storage facilities, and we'll get to your origins question here. We like going with the fun stuff. Is Storage Wars for real from your personal professional experience?
No, it's not.
No.
It's a lie. It's all a lie. Actually, I don't know. Maybe in California or whatever maybe it's better. But in Georgia and Florida, like when you have an auction, first of all, you do online auctions. Is what you do now. Nowadays, you do online auctions. But back in the day when you used to do like live auctions, you'd have like a group of people and they would huddle against the door and they'd all be sitting there waiting for the door to open, and you would open it up and it would just be a whole bunch of just like crap, right? Yeah. And they would look in, and I have a couple of pictures where they're looking in and like looking to see how much they want to pay, and they would turn and look at you and be like, $25.
Yeah.
Like that's the most that everybody would pay is like $25. That's it, so that's really how it works.
Well, back in what was it when I sold and moved back to Hawaii? I actually have bid on a storage unit, and I had insider information because a friend of mine said, "Hey, I know this real estate broker. He just went belly up, and I know you're trying to sell your house, so you might want all his signs and stuff." So I actually did bid on it, and I really got some cool stuff in there. I don't know what I paid for it, maybe $100, but I got all his signs, which I used for my for sale by owner. And then there was a mountain bike in there, golf clubs, some really cool stuff in there that, I made some decent money, but it was luck of the draw, and the fact that I knew what was in there was what I needed. So that's why I bid on it.
Well, and plus like you're in Hawaii.
This was in Tucson, Arizona.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just the luck of the draw, and I have no idea.
Yeah, I mean, that was like 20 years ago too. So 25 years ago. So obviously things are different now. But I think 98% of the time people are like, hey, I wonder if any of this crap's worth anything. And then you go through the stuff and you're like, yep, I've confirmed it. It's all crap.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's better in like primary market, but typically we're buying stuff in like, tertiary markets, and we're buying stuff in like secondary. So it's a little bit different.
Okay. So let's get to it.
Yeah. So you've been doing this for about 10 years. How did you get involved in purchasing and owning these storage facilities? Tell us about that.
Well, so really I was rehabbing homes is what I was doing. And at that time I was one of those like crazy people that was doing like 10 rehabs at the same time.
Wow.
And when I got pregnant, I was doing like 10 or 12 rehabs. And at that, like when I got pregnant, I basically was thinking to myself, okay, like how am I going to manage these like 10 homes and at the same time like have this baby. There's just like no way. And so in that mindset, I was like, okay, that's it. I'm done rehabbing homes. Like I need to focus on passive income because I had not focused on any passive income. And so that's when I started saying, okay, like what can I do for passive income? And then I started looking around, and that was like 2015. So storage also in that time, because I would rehab homes for 5 years, and I've been doing this now for like 6 years. And at that time, like storage, like nobody was talking about storage, nobody. And so, like, it was just one of those things that, just like, it wasn't one of those niches that people were just interested in. Right around that time, if you guys remember, it was like multifamily was starting to come into play. People were starting to get into multifamily stuff.
Yeah.
Right. And then storage came like after multifamily. They were like, oh, multifamily is, going nuts now. Let's move over to something else. But so 2015 is when I really started looking for a facility to buy. Actually, I looked for, like, I told my realtor that I was like, okay, like I'm not buying houses anymore. And he was just like, well, I bought a brand new truck. What am I going to do now?
You're like you're his dealer, his realtor dealer. You're like his real estate dealer, and you cut him off.
I was like his dealer. Yeah. And then he was like, he's like, I'm going to find you something. And so we started looking at like portfolios of houses. We started looking at multifamily. And then he was like, I think I found something for you. And I was like, what? And he's like, I think I found like, what do you think about storage? And I was like, storage? I never thought about that. And the good thing is that was like 20 minutes away, which was perfect because I had this baby and I was like, oh, I could just have this storage facility and I could just take Lillian over there and like, it would be easy. It's passive. And so that's kind of what got me started in the storage. And then once we bought that facility, I was like, you know what, this is like a gold mine. Like this is where I need to be.
Yeah. So Stacy, do you still own that very first storage facility that you purchased and rehabbed?
Yeah, we haven't sold any of our storage facilities yet. So we are actually
you're like a Dave Ramsey of storage.
I'm a buy and hold person, yeah. But like actually we're in the process of, we're gonna sell 3 of our facilities. So we have like 3 facilities that are like right next to each other in the Atlanta market. And they're like probably with like maybe 15 or 20 minutes from each other. So it's a perfect little kind of like mini portfolio. And they're each like 60 units. So like they're our first small facilities that we bought. Yeah. So it's gonna be like 180 units. And it's also one of the facilities has some room to like add on to. And then we have some parking as well. So I think it'll be like a good first mini portfolio for somebody to buy.
Yeah, you're leaving, and you said something important there. You're leaving some skin on the bone, to some fat on the bone for the next investor, because that's like the big mistake. Everybody gets it all perfect, and then they want this really high retail price, and then what investor wants to buy that?
Right? Yeah. No. We understand that, and also I'm also selling it in like the time of like the market where interest rates are like super high. Yeah. So you have when you're going to sell something during this time, you have to really consider this. You can't be like, oh, I want like blah, like this amount of money. You have to be like, okay, who is actually going to buy this, and what are they going to be able to afford?
Now I'm thinking about the investors that might be watching right now. Let's say we're like, what we find is most investors with the residential passive income rentals, they're like, I'm tired of dealing with tenants blowing up, water heaters blowing up, refrigerators getting trashed. Could they do a 1031 into any of these funds?
Of course, you can do 1031, and the only thing you can't do a 1031 and typically too is into a fund. But if they sell one of their facilities, and like my facilities that I was buying, now I'm in the Southeast. There were like, they're only a couple $100,000 because they were just in small facilities in tertiary markets. So you can totally sell a property and then just 1031 and exchange that into like a facility.
And Stacy, like, what kind of cash flow or cap rate are you typically getting on these storage facilities that like you personally own? What's been your experience?
Well, so we buy mismanaged facilities. So what that means is that when we're buying it, it's not producing not enough income. So if it's like a severely mismanaged facility, the cap rate could be like ridiculously low. Like the one that we just purchased in our fund was like a -2 cap or something like that. Wow. Right? But we're going to take it to like a 23% cap rate.
Oh, wow.
And then we'll sell it at a 7 cap. Right? So that's kind of how it works. It's like you buy it at a really low rate, you increase the rates, you value add it, you get it running, and then you sell it at a 7. So a good cap rate in the industry for an income producing property would be like a 7 cap with like a 10% cash on cash return or higher. That'd be like a good solid, buy and hold right now.
Yeah. So now, why did you start the fund? Because and just so everybody out there is who's watching knows, the reason why we got Stacy on the show is because we're actually investors.
Yes, in her fund.
Yeah.
Because we believe in what Stacy has done with her track record, and then I love how now she's bringing other investors together to share in that wealth and knowledge
And the expertise. Yeah.
Yeah, so let's talk
You'll
about
have to see. You'll have to see the next fund. The next deal. I'm getting under contract today.
Yeah.
I know, and I'm like, the truth is like when you have a fund, you're giving up a lot of money.
Yeah.
You really are. Like I'm giving up a lot of money. But the purpose of the fund is really like to build this foundation of like these investors that come together and we can all like pool our money together and just like create win-win situations. That's really what the purpose of a fund is. And I'm 100% privately funded. I've done over $20 million in transactions in the last 10 years. And I've always raised money and just shared the money with everybody else. And so for me, having a fund is just kind of the next step. It's like, and also the purpose of this fund was because I've bought all of my personal properties that I own. We own 11 of those. They're $1 million or less. That's kind of where the price range was.
Nice.
And in the industry, there's like, I call it the sweet spot, which is like $1 million to $3 million. Because like when you think of storage, like you're gonna hear two different types of people. You're gonna hear you have to have 50,000 square feet or more in order to make money. There's no reason for you to buy anything smaller because like it's the same amount of work and you're gonna make the same amount of money if you do it this way. And then you have the other people that are like, look, I really want to get into the game and I only have like X amount of dollars. So I can only buy these like smaller facilities. So it's like those two types of people. But what's missing is like that middle sweet spot, which is like $1 to $3 million properties. These bigger players don't want those and the smaller players can't afford those. And in that sweet spot, there are a lot of like mismanaged facilities.
Yeah.
There really are a lot. Owners just and they don't know how to I'm not saying most, a lot of owners do not really understand how to truly manage their property. They're because storage is doing nothing but going up, right? But like owners, like they have this kind of feeling, a lot of them, there's like that I have to be the cheapest one in order to stay full. Right. And that's kind of their mindset. And the truth is that you don't really have to do this. You just have to be good at like managing your property. So there's a lot of these like facilities in the $1 to $3 million range that I was coming across. And I was like, I need to do a fund so I can buy these properties. And so that's really the purpose of the fund, is to buy stuff like that.
I see too, you have like this minimum investment, 25,000. That's not a lot of money to get involved.
Yes. Now this is a 506c fund. It's a Reg D. It's a Reg D 506c. So you have to be an accredited investor in order to invest in that.
Let's mention what that is real quick. What are the two things for accredited investor?
Yeah. So you have to either have $1 million net worth, not including your personal residence, or you have to make at least 200,000 or 300,000, depending on if you're married or not, right? Yeah. How you do your tax returns. Yeah. And so those are the two qualifications. And if you don't qualify for that, that's not a big deal. But what you need to do is you need to look for a 506B fund, because a B fund allows sophisticated investors or non-accredited investors to invest in it. But this is a 506C fund. So you have to be accredited in order to put your money into it.
Yeah, and I think the IRS put that in place because this is the big boys and girls, and you know what you're doing. And if you succeed, awesome. And if you fail, it's on you.
So it looks like you have some openings for some other investors in this next fund.
Yeah.
Yes. So we actually have two deals that we're raising money for. One of them is a $1.4 million deal. And it's in the Atlanta area. It's in the Atlanta market, and we're going to be it's a mismanaged facility because the owner is really only making about $110,000, and he should be making like $230,000.
Oh wow!
Right. And so that's a $1.4 million facility that we're going to take to like a $3.3 million facility. And so that's one that we're raising money for right now. And then I'm about to put another one under contract where the owner's going to owner finance it to us. It's going to be awesome. Nice. It's a $2.4 million deal. He wants $700,000 down. It's an all indoor climate control facility. And we're going to take it from $2.4 million to $5.3 million just by raising the rents and getting it up to date and stuff. So it's a really, really good deal as well too. So those are the two. So I need about $2 million is what I need.
$2 million. All right, Adrian, get the checkbook.
If anybody has any money, I need $2 million. Any accredited investors.
Yes.
Well, accredited investors, if you're, we know we get a lot of realtors that watch our stuff, and I put this out to you, come from contribution to your clients. We get caught in this trap of always trying to help them buy or sell something and collect a commission. And, clients get wary of that. So coming from contribution means you're bringing them information or something that might be helpful for them that has nothing to do with benefiting you. And trust me, it'll circle back around because we've developed really good relationships with our clients that trust us. So when they need to buy or sell a piece of real estate, they're like, hey, you turned me on to Stacy. Thank you so much for that. I got to sell this because I want to invest in her fund.
Well, I personally, the reason why we initially got, connected with Stacy and were very interested in the self-storage is because the very first DST that I did, that the Delaware Statutory Trust, that was in a storage fund that spans across 4 different states. And I've done very well with the returns, with the appreciation of the money that I invested. So I thought, hey, where else is there opportunities to be an owner or to invest in storage facilities? And when we came across Stacy and learned a little bit more about her story, her background, she gives weekly information meetings. So you can always hop on one of those and find out more and ask her any question that you want. Very, very knowledgeable.
A back end that you can log into and you can check it out real time on all the stuff that they're doing and the updates. It's really, really super cool. And we're confident in Stacy because this is what you do. You're passionate about it. You're knowledgeable about it. Do I want to be going to the mainland and buying storage units and rehabbing them? No. I want Stacy to do it.
Because she's good at it.
Right? Yeah. That's what I do. I'm the asset manager.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's what my husband does.
Yeah. Tell us about that secret weapon, your husband. What's he do?
Yeah, he's really the guy that goes out there and does. He manages everybody now, but he's still hands-on. He's one of those guys that he just can't 100% delegate stuff, So we had a storage facility just the other day where just random. It's random. This is what happens. Somebody put a chain around the gate so that nobody can get into it. So he had to drive a couple hours and unlock it, cut the chain with the grinder. So that's kind of the stuff that he does, but he loves this stuff. He's the hands-on asset manager is what he is.
He's now I get to buy the big bolt cutters from Home Depot.
That's how he is. That's how he is. He just bought it. Actually for our wedding anniversary. This is what he did. Cutters? He drove into the house with a dump trailer. He's happy anniversrsary, babe. I just bought us a dump trailer. And I was like,
put on the back. Happy anniversary. Yeah, I thought, what year anniversary was that for y'all?
That was I don't know. Was that 7 or 8? Because we've been together 15 years, but it took us 6 years to get married.
Yeah. So it's your 10-year anniversary. Most people get silver. You got a dump truck.
I got a dump truck. Exactly. Yeah.
Dump truck anniversary. But, the couple more things about it, we kind of want to leave people wanting more because, they want to follow up with you. So we've got your website, we've got your contact information. Question I had, anecdotally, I think storage units are recession proof, COVID proof, and everything else because everybody's got junk to store. Do you find that that's true factually?
Yeah, and then when you start seeing a decrease in vacancy, all you do, what I love about storage is you just really just decrease your prices.
Yeah.
So it's okay. Yeah. Okay, maybe we're losing some. And I told this to a student the other day because he's I've been getting 110 for a 10 by 10. He's now I'm down to 85%. And I was lower your rates.
Or run a special or something.
Yeah. So that's really, you just have to it's all about dynamic pricing now. It's really about revenue management, looking at your pricing. What does the market call for? And then you can just adjust, Yeah. That's what you should be doing.
Lyft does that all the time. If you're coming out of a football game, it's this is the rate.
Yeah.
If you're 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of nowhere, then then this is the rate and all of that stuff. So
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's called dynamic pricing. That's exactly what you should be doing.
Yeah.
So Stacy, you mentioned your students, and I just want to touch on that before we wrap this up. So you have are you like a coach, or like how do you teach people to do what you do?
So I teach every Monday night for free. So if you're like listening to me and you're like, I really want to get into storage, then I would hop on the free Monday night sessions. Every Monday night I teach just some random topic about storage. So that's, you can just go to stacyrossetti.com and then sign up for that. And then we have a coaching program. I have a coaching program and it's called Storage Nerds. And so if you're like, yeah, I really want Stacy to just hold my hand and tell me exactly what to do, then just go to storagenerds.com. And that's where you can get into the coaching program. Okay, and that's it right there. Yeah, but the doors are open. The doors are open now for the next couple of days. I typically open the door like 3 times a year, and I take 20 students, and then I walk those 20 students through getting buying their first storage facility.
Wow, that's exciting.
I like what you got on here. How to buy your first storage facility in the next 90 days, even if you've never invested in real estate before. That's pretty compelling.
Yes.
You know what? If anything, I would trust you to do that. Here's what I'm going to tell the people. This is, and Adrian and I spend, we've probably spent over $250,000 over the last 10 years in coaching. Coaching works. Mm-hmm. There's no sense in reinventing the wheel. And then don't be so stingy to not want to pay for coaching so that you can actually get a better return on your efforts and not make a whole bunch of mistakes.
Yeah, if you don't pay for coaching with Stacy, then you're going to pay for it in mistakes.
You're not go ahead.
Yeah, well, right. She's definitely worth the investment.
You'll pay more with your mistakes than you ever will with the coaching with Stacy. I don't know what better of an endorsement that we can give you than that. But and then real quick before we wrap it up. So you go down the laundry list of all the stuff that you're doing and offering to people. We got the coaching.
The coaching, yeah. So storagenerds.com is the coaching. And then if you go to stacyrossetti.com, you'll find everything there. So the coaching is there. I have a course as well. So if you're like, I want to do it on my own and I don't want to spend money on coaching, you can do the course. It's called Super Simple Self-Storage. And then also REI USA is is where you can learn how to just invest in real estate. You can check that out. And then the fund, right, is Self-Storage Fund of America. So but just go to stacyrossetti.com and everything you need is there.
Yeah. So that's a ton of resources. I don't know why you would want to. You're tired of tenants and all the terrible things that come with it, and you want the passive income without the headaches. Adrian can speak to it firsthand. And this is, we own a property management division. We have over 1,000 properties under management. So we're speaking from experience that storage units much, much easier. Real estate with people not in it is much more less, a lot less headache than real estate with people in it.
Yeah. Well, there's still we still have tenants, but it's a different mindset. They're just not complaining all the time about little things. You hardly ever hear from them.
I mean, they're renting a box with a door and a lock on it. Holy cow! Yeah. What else do you need?
That's important. Their stuff is very important.
Yes. And we see it on the storage auctions all the time.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you, Stacy, for being on our Friday Live. And we're excited to have you on our radio show as well.
Okay. Right. Yeah. Thank you so much. I'm honored to be here, and I appreciate you guys working and trusting me. And I look forward to, continue that.
Yes. Of course. Thanks so much.